We're just scribbling and doodling through it. So what I wanted to do is take the opportunity to present to you AFW Quickies. So with that being said, let's get this one over with. What we've got here is different offensive formation packages. Okay, you've heard the term packages and formation substitutions, and we don't know what kind of packages he's got ready for this drive, or the 2-minute package, the 4-minute package, so on and so forth, right? There's a lot of things and terminology that goes into this whole football thing. So what I've done is taken 6 very common offensive formations, and we are going to spell those out for you guys. Now, the easy way to remember this is running back, tight end, wide receiver. So when you guys hear the commentators say, oh, they're running 11 personnel, that means 1-1. The 2 numbers in 11, 1 running back, 1 tight end. Everybody else is of the those 2 skilled positions, which would be receivers. So here we go. We're going to start with 11 personnel. This is something that, as far as the XFL is concerned, I think you're going to see a guy like Mark Trestman and Pep Hamilton run a lot of 11 personnel. But in reality now, it's the dominant formation in football, whereas at one point it used to be 21 personnel, it's now 11 personnel. So let's take a look at what it's usually going to look like. So here you are, you've got your running back, your tight end, and your 3 wide receivers. There's 2 flankers on the outside and your slot guy on the inside. Nobody runs in the NFL 11 personnel better than the LA Rams. As you can see, they've got Kupp, they've got Cooks, they've got Woods, they've got Higbee, all 4 solid players, and of course they've got this guy named Gurley. 11 personnel is great for the LA Rams because they usually line up Gurley on that strong side, which is the side that the tight end is on. You don't know whether he's going to stay home and block, and they're going to hand this off to Gurley on that strong side. He could chip, break out. Gurley can come over here, do one of these. You got a slant here, a post there, and everybody's open for their offense. So, in essence, that is 11 personnel. Now, moving on, let's go up to number 12. Nobody runs 12 personnel better than the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL. What is 12 personnel? Well, if you're following the number system, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Why do they run a package like this? Seems like kind of a short yardage type of thing. However, if you have 2 splendid tight ends like they do in Philadelphia, Zach Ertz and Goddard, and of course you've got Jackson and Jeffrey, 2 dynamically opposite wide receivers on the outside, and you've got a guy named Howard that just in. He's a running back for Philadelphia. You can run this type of package, and nobody ran this more successfully last year than the Philadelphia Eagles. It is because they have 2 very dynamic tight ends. Now, moving on to my all-time favorite offensive formation or package in general. This is the 21. Okay, you've got 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 2 wide receivers, 21, 2, 1. So the San Francisco 49ers are spectacular at running this. They have an excellent success rate on downs that they use this package. Kittle, arguably now the best tight end in the league now that some guy named Gronkowski recently retired. Now, Chiefs fans may want to put up a fight. However, he is excellent at what he does. He's really good at football. Juszczyk, if you were to spell his name on a Scrabble board, I want to say that's like the best name score you could possibly come up with in the entire NFL. There's like 2 Z's, a Y, a K. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Coleman from Atlanta. You've got 2 very fast wide receivers on the outside here. So what makes this all work is the fact that Kittle is so good, and they have one of the best and last of the Mohican fullbacks, pure fullbacks in the league in Juszczyk. So the 49ers, once again, like I said, are very good at running this package. On to number 22. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Here's a package that a whole lot of teams in the leagues don't run. Speaking of having 2 good tight ends, like Philadelphia has, they've got a wild card down here in New Orleans. So they can run the 22. Now, you've got the two backs, Line and Kamara. Kamara is just a special player. Okay, but the two tight ends are represented a little differently than you're used to seeing. Cook and Taysom Hill. Okay, now Taysom Hill was actually a quarterback, but they put him out at wide receiver. He drops back into running back or lines up as a fullback, H-back. He moves around, he motions around. He can line up in the traditional tight end spot outside the tackle. You don't know what. I mean, this is what helps 5'10" and change Drew Brees be so great at what he does. Or what is he, 5'11" and a wish? I don't know. I can't remember. But with that being said, you ever see him when he stretches his neck when he looks over to the offensive line? He's, hey, who's open? That guy. So, like I said, Taysom Hill is the wild card in this package because you don't quite know what he's doing. He's got speed. He's got great hands. Hell, he could come back, catch a pass from Drew Brees. It looks like some sort of a bubble screen, but then he'll kind of scramble to the outside and hit Thomas for 50 yards down. But you don't know what this guy's going to do. And that's what makes their offense very, very, very multi-layered and dynamic. They are the one and only team that can really use this 22. Usually you see a 22 when you're down on the goal line. And it's first and goal, second, third, fourth and goal, or 1 yard to go. You're going for it, those types of situations. But the Saints can run this pretty much whenever they feel like it because who dat, whatever the thing is. 10 personnel. Arizona. Be on the lookout for this rookie quarterback named Murray in Arizona. They are going to be able to run this. They've been running this for years out there in Arizona. They don't utilize a fullback or a tight end very much at all, ever out there. I can't think of one in a very long time. What, Larry Centers? Who else? You know a guy? So, Kirk, Isabella, Larry Fitzgerald, Butler. You've got a guy named Johnson as a running back here. And then, of course, a very dynamic player in Murray, the #1 overall draft pick. So, this is the run and shoot, essentially. So, what I think we're going to see a lot of here, and of course at Kingsbury, the coach, he's now coming up from college, and he's bringing the run and shoot with him. He's going to have a whole lot of communication between his receivers and the quarterback to keep things simple for their young quarterback. And what makes this all work is because Johnson can catch, he can run, and Fitz is Fitz. All right, he has not changed since the day he came in the league. Some people swear up and down he's lost a step. He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's get one thing straight. So they've got speed all over the field. They've got great sets of hands. This is the 10 personnel package. 1 running back, 0 tight ends. Everybody else is a wide receiver. 2 slots, 2 flankers. Last but not least, Detroit. The Motor City Bad Boys football version is running the 20 personnel more successful than any team in the NFL. They do this the non-traditional way, of course. They don't use a halfback and a fullback. They usually put 2 halfbacks in the backfield. Now, you've got Jones, Amendola, Galladay. They don't really have anybody staying inside typically to help out their offensive line. They just say, hey, please do your job. The thing that makes this work is that both of their running backs, Riddick, can not only run, but they can catch. You don't know which back is doing which, okay? Amendola, it doesn't really matter what side of the field. Depending on what side Amendola is on might determine which side Riddick is on. And let's get one thing straight. They're going to switch their packages up if one of their running backs goes down, which seems to happen year in and year out in Detroit. I don't know what it is, but that just seems to happen up there. But typically, Amendola is going to be lined up in the slot at the same side the strongest running back is lined up on. So there you go. There are your 6 formation packages. You've got 11 personnel, which is your 1 halfback, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers, 12 personnel, 1 halfback, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, your 21 personnel, which is your 2 backs, a tight end, 2 wide receivers, 22, 2 backs, 2 tights, and 1 very dynamic wide receiver. You've got the 10, which is 1 running back, no tight ends. Everybody's on the outside that's left. And then, of course, you've got 20, 2 running backs, 0 tight ends, and 3 wide receivers on the field. These are the most common packages in football. Now, the one that's not on here last but not least, is the 13 personnel. That would be one running back with 3 tight ends, or 23 personnel with 2 running backs with 3 tight ends. You're pretty much only going to see that on a goal line situation. So for the sake of the conversation, I went ahead and left that off. So that is AFW Quickies, the personnel packages. I hope we all learned something. The object is to make everybody a better and smarter fan of the game and recognize some of this terminology when we hear it come up this season. Stay thirsty, my friends.